Hi, welcome to Freezer Meals 101. I'm Charla.
And I'm Christy. Today, we are doing something extra special for you. I mean, you can read it in the title. You obviously know what we're doing. But it's Ethiopian food.
And this is a little bit of a different video because usually we focus a lot on like meals that we can make fast. So you can get your whole freezer stacked and all of that. And these are not fast.
They're not fast, but they are flavorful. They're relatively frugal.
Yes.
And they are, I said flavorful, they are packed with flavor. Like I'm not even like packed with flavor. You're gonna need to go to like maybe a specialty shop for some of the ingredients.
Definitely.
But the work that you put in, I think it pays off. This is delicious.
So 2 of our kids are from Ethiopia. We adopted them in 2009 when they were 7 and 4. So we traveled to Ethiopia, spent some time there. My husband actually went back a year later and spent even more time.
Right.
Yeah, getting to know the culture, and he brought one of our older sons with him, and they learned a lot. So I am not an expert on Ethiopian food. I'm not pretending to be an expert. I have learned from some lovely Ethiopian women over the years. I've asked lots of questions, but I am not an expert. There are probably some amazing YouTube channels on Ethiopian food.
I'm sure there are.
With experts. So if you're looking for like the most authentic, the like Ethiopian...
That's going to answer all your Ethiopian food questions. Yeah. It's not us.
No, this is just like...
And the interest, right?
Yeah.
It's a special interest.
We have loved making this over the years. When our kids first came home, I wanted to make them as comfortable as possible, and so I learned a little bit of their language. I'm not fluent, but I learned some Amharic just to help them to adjust, and then I learned how to cook Ethiopian food over time. And so at first we would just take them to a local Ethiopian restaurant, and they have retired recently. It was such a lovely place.
Yes.
But you know, but what I would do is I would buy this bear. I'm gonna grab it, hold on. So I went and bought containers like this, like big.
Because you use a lot of it.
Because I use a lot. And what I would do initially is I would sprinkle some bear, which is an Ethiopian spice, it's kind of their staple spice, into things like chilies and spaghetti sauces just to give the familiarity flavor to our kids. And it helped them just make that adjustment a little bit to more Canadian food.
So thoughtful of you.
Well, it wasn't familiar for them.
No,
so,
you're right.
You know,
but what a great idea.
It worked.
Yeah.
So what we're making today is 4 recipes, and we have made them into freezer meals. We've done this before, where especially the Doro Wat. We've even done the Doro Wat on
as a freezer meal.
Oh, I'm gonna put a video there. It's not gonna have the Doro Wat in it, but to one of our mega sessions of freezer cooking, where we make like 100 or more meals and stack our freezers.
Yes.
But we have done the Doro Wat a few times in those mega sessions. Some of these, I can only say the only benefit to doing them as a freezer meal is that you could make many of them, like you could quadruple the recipe, eat 1 that night and have 4 in your freezer for other days. And so in that way, it would be worth doing. But these are not like regular freezer meals where you're gonna save a lot of time unless you're doubling, tripling,
this isn't chop and dump. This is cooking at the stove. This is stirring for hours.
Literally hours. Yeah.
And if you're making them all together, it is definitely something you want as a freezer meal.
So a few of these I actually did last week. We're gonna show you the videos of me doing those, and I'll walk you through what's in them and all of that. But we did this like over 2 separate days.
Yes, it took some time, but now that they're frozen, you can have them all together. That's the benefit of it. So on the day of cooking, it's a reheat, and it's simple, and you can have the full Ethiopian experience. You can have several different dishes.
Yes.
And then you get to eat it with the special food, the special bread that Charlotte will tell you about.
Because traditionally, you're not going to just have one Ethiopian dish. It's going to be multiples, like 4 is a small amount actually, for what you would normally have at one of these meals. So you want to eat these with injera, which is a flatbread, like spongy, flatbready thing.
Spongy, flatbready thing. That is the best way to describe it. And I'll tell you, it's I-N-J-E-R-A, injera.
Yes, and it is
the first time I heard it, I thought Indura, and I'm like,
no.
I don't know what that is, but it's okay. And Indira didn't help me either, but at least I know how to spell it, so I can say it properly.
There you go. And it's made with teff flour, and I have not attempted to make it myself. This is something where we go to an Ethiopian bakery, we buy it, they are experts at making it, they are amazing. I do have friends that have made it, but I've never
And you can buy
attempted.
it kind of like, you go and buy tortillas, where you can get them in a little stack, but they're little.
They're
quite
giant.
They're giant. They make a crepe look like tiny, right?
I'm gonna grab one of those too, hold on. So this is what we're talking about, and I'll put a better picture in there for you, but this is how large this is. And then what we do is we slice it and we roll them. So everybody gets a roll, and then you use the roll to scoop with your fingers. You scoop in and you eat the Ethiopian food. My son from Ethiopia is going to show you how to do this because I look super awkward doing it.
Yeah, we'll leave it to the expert.
Yeah, we're good on, so,
let's get to it. Oh, what else do we have here?
Okay, so I brought out to show you. So this is shiro powder. When I talk about shiro, which is a chickpea flour or a chickpea powder, that is what I'm talking about there. And of course the bear, which is a combination
it's
of
like a spice blend.
Spices. And so that's this. We're going to be talking about a few, like there's a lot of paprika. Now, when you cook Ethiopian food, your house smells like onions, ginger, and garlic.
Yes.
For days. That's awesome. And you need onions, ginger, and garlic.
Yes.
And lots of it.
In spades, a lot of it.
And this is one of those cases where normally for our freezer meals, we'll use like the pre-minced garlic from a jar. We don't do that for Ethiopian food. We use
the full punch.
Yep.
The full clove sometimes, the full bulb.
Yep.
There's a lot of garlic.
There's a lot of garlic. And
it's great.
So again, this is a bit of a departure from our regular videos, but it's just something I wanted to share with you guys because it is for our family. It is part of our family culture, and it's something that we enjoy doing, and yeah.
And the food is good, and I've had a chance to have it because I'm her neighbor and her friend, and so it's lovely to have, and it is something a little bit different, and that is good for everybody.
And the whole experience with the injera and kind of
we had it once at supper club.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
So
we love
it's
our supper
great.
club. Okay, what are we having today? You tell us about these dishes.
We are doing Doro Wot, which is Doro is chicken, Wat is stew. So it is I think Doro is chicken. I'm gonna have to look that up before I publish this video. Anyway, Wat is stew. And so you hear Wat a lot. A lot of Ethiopian dishes are stews. Now also, because of some of the religions that are very prevalent there, they have a lot of vegetarian dishes, which is really nice because I like
You really like, you do like your vegetarian dishes, but it also is nice because it makes them a little more on the frugal side, and because of the Ethiopian food, like I said before about the flavor, everything is punched up. Everything is so flavorful. You don't even really notice.
You don't miss the meat.
You don't miss the meat. And I mean, shiro is chickpea powder. There's your protein. Like there's protein. It's not, and it's lentils. You'll see.
Yeah.
All
okay,
right.
so Doro Wat. For our Doro Wat, I like to do mine in the slow cooker. I've always done it in the slow cooker. Just melds the flavors really nicely. to do it for the freezer, you're gonna put chicken drumsticks, lemon juice, and salt in your bag and allow that to marinate for a bit while you're doing the other steps of this. So while that's marinating, you're gonna mix onions, garlic, and ginger into a paste using a blender or a food processor. Then we're gonna melt butter over medium heat in a small pan. We're gonna cook our paprika. Now, for one recipe here, it's 2 tablespoons of paprika. So that plus the bear is where this gets its red-brown color. You're gonna add some, you're gonna cook that for a minute and then add the bear and some cayenne, another red one, and cook for 3 minutes, stirring the whole time. Then you're gonna add that onion, garlic, ginger puree that you made and cook it for 5 more minutes. Once that's done, you take that off the stove and then you're gonna go back to your bag of chicken. You're gonna add the sauce that you've made at the stove along with some red wine, chicken stock, salt, and pepper. Take out the air from your bag because when you're freezer cooking, air is your enemy, so you want to avoid that at all costs. And then you're going to seal your bag and freeze it. On the day that you go to make this, you're going to allow it to thaw and then cook it in the slow cooker for 5 or 6 hours. Now, another thing that makes this dish very unique is that you're going to add some hard-boiled eggs at the end of your cooking time. So you're gonna cook those up separately. That's kind of odd. I had never heard of a dish with the hard-boiled eggs, but our kids used to fight over who got the hard-boiled egg. So now we add a lot of hard-boiled eggs, so everybody gets their own. That is Dara Wot, and of course you're gonna serve that with your injera.
The next one we have here is Yemisir Wot. Again, Wot means stew. I'm not really sure what Yemisir means, but I'm gonna guess it means red lentils, but somebody can correct me if they know better. We're gonna heat our oil over medium heat and add the onions that have been chopped, and we stir and cook those for about 8 minutes. And then we're going to add our spices. We have the bear, the ginger, and the garlic has been pureed. And we're going to cook for 2 more minutes. Then we can add the lentils and cook for 1 more minute. We're gonna add some water and bring it to a boil over a high heat and then reduce to simmer. And you want to stir and keep adding more water if needed until the lentils disintegrate and a mixture is a thick stew. It's gonna take about 30 minutes. At the end, you wanna season it to taste with some salt.
You're probably noticing by now that these recipes do really take a lot more time and you're standing at the stove a lot. But it's worth it. The flavors are so worth it. But I'm just gonna say that if you're going to do all this work, you might as well make multiples of each of these. So for today, we're gonna put all of these recipes and like the full descriptions of, you know, how long you need to stir things and all of that in the description below in case you wanna make your own Ethiopian food and give this a try. Now, this next dish, I have said before that I'll never make this again. I'll just buy it because it's so much work. But then when I make it, it ends up being a lot of people's favorites, and even when I'm eating it, I'm like, oh, it's kind of worth it. Like, it takes so long, kind of hours, honestly. But again, you know, you at least double it or triple it or quadruple it and then put the others in the freezer. So it's a little bit more worthwhile. So introducing Yemisir Wot. For Yemisir Wot, you're going to take 2 large red onions and you're going to chop them super finely. We used a food processor because you want them very fine, almost a pulp, really. And you're going to put those with 1/2 cup of water in a pot and bring it to a boil. You're gonna boil that until the water is almost completely evaporated. So your onions kind of turn almost pink, the red onions, and it takes quite a long time for that to happen. When the water is almost all gone from there, you're gonna add some oil and then cook the onions until they're kind of browning up. Once that's happened, you're gonna add more water and bring it to a boil again. You're gonna add some bearberry and some pureed tomatoes. Cook that for 15 minutes and then add 4 cups of water. Bring that to a boil and then turn it down to a simmer. You're gonna add the shiro powder, which was that chickpea powder, just a little bit at a time, and stir it that whole time to break up any clumps. I did that with a whisk just to get it really incorporated in there. You can add some salt, and then you're gonna add spiced butter. With the spiced butter, it's Ethiopian spiced butter, and you do need to go to a specialty store to buy that. I can't really describe the smell to you. It's very interesting and very different from anything I'm used to, but you definitely don't want to just use regular butter there. You do need the Ethiopian spiced butter to create the flavor you're after. You want to let that cook for about 5 minutes, and then you're going to add some sliced jalapenos. You can of course take out the seeds if you want it less spicy. You're going to let all of that simmer for 15 minutes, and again you're going to serve that with your injera at your Ethiopian feast.
This meal is called Yekik Alicha. It is yellow split peas, and this is Charla's daughter's favorite Ethiopian dish. We're gonna have the split peas in the saucepan and we cover them with water. You bring to a boil over high heat and boil for 5 minutes and then drain. In the meantime, in another saucepan, you want to heat the oil over medium heat. Add your onions, cook, stirring for 8 minutes. Add your garlic and ginger, cook, stirring for 1 minute. Stir in your turmeric and then stir in the drained split peas. Cook, stirring for another 1 minute, and then add 3 cups of water. Raise the heat to high and bring to a boil. You want to cook, stirring occasionally, and add more water if needed until the split peas are soft and the stew is thick and not soupy. It'll take about 30 minutes, and then you can season with salt.
So on the day that you go to cook this, you're gonna take it out to thaw, and you're just gonna reheat everything except the Doro Wat. The Doro Wat you do need to throw in the slow cooker, and then you're gonna add your hard-boiled eggs at the end to that. So that's got a little bit of work, but the rest, no work at all. You're just reheating, and then you can have your huge Ethiopian feast. You're gonna serve that with your injera, and it's really a nice cultural experience. Now, when we went to the Ethiopian bakery this time, we picked up some mirinda, which is like an orange pop that you find in Ethiopia, and like a huge treat for our kids. They always look forward to that.
Pop is like soda.
Oh yes, sorry.
For the Americans.
We're in Canada, so we say pop.
Our soft drinks, we call pop.
Soft drinks, soda, I think Coke. Some states call it Coke. Even if it's not, like
everything is just Coke?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like I'll have a Coke and then they'll say what kind? And they'll like be like root beer, which makes no sense to me at all. But anyway, that's how it is. So yeah. So that's
it.
Our make ahead Ethiopian feast. And again, I am by no means an expert on Ethiopian food, but it is something that we really enjoy. And if you did want to give it a try, we've got those recipes down below for you.
And you've seen us do it, so it does, well, you've seen Charlotte do it, but it does help. The videos help because then you can see what it entails, and it's worth it to put yourself out there sometimes and just try something new.
Thank you for joining us today, or I should say, amasaganalo, which is thank you in Amharic.
Very good.